Big exciting news as you start your new early morning as Wall Street is jittery about Nancy Pelosi, jittery about Mitch McConnell, jittery about Donald, and even jittery about Joe Biden. New economic data will be released today, but all eyes ironically are on one state. One state that could ultimately determine your stimulus balance of power in Washington. What's going on and what has happened? The exciting great news and a good day of Tuesday early morning, and this is Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm here, you're here. Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LALATE, the lighthearted, carefree early mornings broadcast on this channel, which has been really a blockbuster success. Thank you for making yesterday's recording, I think, our most watched video. As you know, Early Mornings LALATE debuts every day at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with two broadcasts. First, this broadcast, and then the second one 30 minutes from now at the bottom of the hour at 6:30 a.m. It's a lighthearted broadcast that has a lot of stuff to start your new day on stimulus to get you financially stable and financially with your feet on the ground going forward in the new year. All right, go to the front channel, subscribe if you've not, because boy, there's going to be a lot of stuff unfolding today, and you don't want to miss that next video at 6:30. Boy, goodness, you gotta crush the breakfast. Also, like this video, because this is going to be the video to get your feet going on the new day. This is a enhanced viewing experience. Oh my god, it sounds so sophisticated, but it's not. It's just a lot of fun. If you've never joined me for Early Mornings LALATE, it's an enhanced viewing experience. It allows you to watch, if you're tuning in at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, you're watching this as a live premiere, as an instant premiere, which features enhanced viewing experiences with a live chat. To the right of this video, you will see a live chat going on if you're tuning in right at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The live chat allows you to comment and chat with your Purple Power buddies while watching this video. It's a great feature, it's a lot of fun, and it also features the super chat. The video feature will also be offered in the next video coming up at the bottom of the half hour. So much exciting news. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as we sit here this morning is that Wall Street is jittery. It was jittery yesterday. It's going to be jittery today. And guess what? Wall Street gave a lot of money to Joe Biden, a new report says, and they should have a reason to be jittery. But Wall Street is not so jittery about the presidential election, and that's what's important to understand as we start the new day. Wall Street's jittery about a series of economic factors that include you. The first one is stimulus. The second one is COVID and lockdowns. And the third one is uncertainty about a contested election and your stimulus. Oh boy. How does this work out? Well, first of all, Wall Street's deeply concerned that with the growing number of COVID-19 cases, you could have lockdowns across the country. And so what's important for you as you start the new day is to remember that for stimulus, we're talking about second stimulus currently. Second stimulus. But ironically, some of the provisions of second stimulus date back to first stimulus because they never were paid. And ironically, what will happen, and it's not a good thing, and I'm preparing you for it if it does happen, is that I think some politicians will try to not pay you third stimulus, but try to say you got second stimulus. What's going on? Let me explain. What's happening right now is Wall Street's jittery that there's going to be lockdowns. There's going to be inability to access businesses in the winter months as COVID-19 cases increase, much like March, if you remember March. Well, if that's true, you need stimulus checks for that period of time. If that's true, you need enhanced unemployment benefits for that time. And if that's true, you certainly need hazard pay if you're an essential worker. Well, what is Congress going to do with that? This is the concern that I'm vocalizing to you right now. As we sit here today and we're talking about how much stimulus checks you're owed, we're talking about stimulus checks from the second stimulus package, which spans from the month of April all the way up to the present. They didn't pay you stimulus checks in the last lockdown, which covered March, April, May. They paid one stimulus check. They didn't pay you since April. So they owe you all that period of time. Well, if you have another lockdown coming in November, December, guess what? They owe you stimulus checks then under the third stimulus package. And what's important to understand is that that is a period after this. This is the second stimulus package. They got to pay you, and they got to pay you on the third stimulus package. But I protect you like a hawk, and I certainly predict that Congress will try to not pay you stimulus checks for the month of November, December, saying that, hey, we just paid you one in October. No, that was for the months of April to now. I think they're going to do that also with hazard pay. Hazard pay has been that provision that goes in and goes out and goes in and goes out. Well, guess what? The hazard pay we're talking about now is hazard pay dating back to the first stimulus package. Yes. Hazard pay is that we are talking about now was never paid under the first stimulus package. So all provisions of hazard pay that they talk about goes from January to the present. So if there is another lockdown, you're essential worker, and you have not been paid bonus pay, you should get hazard pay in the second stimulus package or the third stimulus package. Finally, FPUC. That's the biggies. That's the biggest one. They keep on missing months and throwing out months like we're not catching them throwing out our months. The current version of throwing out your months is forgetting about the month of August. Did you forget about my month of August? No, just don't ask about it. No, I am asking about it. They allowed FPUC to expire in July. This is FPUC 1.0. It expired in July. And they said, you know what? We'll get to it right after that. We won't let you lose a week. Guess what? They now want you to lose a month. And that month is on the second stimulus package. They're proposing FPUC and all their chatter for FPUC to go from July forward into January. Well, guess what? If the pandemic continues and you're still on lockdown in January, you need more FPUC. Hence the third stimulus package. What's important to understand as we sit here today is that the markets are jittery about that because they think that Congress is going to try to not pay enough stimulus to deal with the pandemic. The next thing that Wall Street's jittery about as you start the new day is, ironically, not the presidency, but the Senate. Ugh. And if you did not tune into last night, I dropped a bombshell on Evenings LALATE, and I'm going to deal with it a little bit more right now. There's new concerns that the entire dynamic, the entire path, the entire effort to get your second stimulus could be dependent upon one race, the Senate race out of Georgia. What is this, LALATE? New reports suggest that the attempt for the Republicans to hold on to the Senate is going well for the Republicans, despite some initial indications that it would likely go Democratic. Oh no, new reports say that it could go down to the line, and the big line could be in Georgia. Georgia has gone Republican every year since 1992. But now Biden-Trump is a dead race. And the Senate race in Georgia is a dead race as well. AJC, the big paper out of Atlanta, reported this evening and the day before. So with that, boy, it could absolutely determine the entire future of your stimulus. How important is this? And what does it have to do with Nancy? And why is she going to start pulling out that hair, if that really is her hair? What's important to understand is that Nancy is betting upon Joe Biden coming in January. Okay, Nancy, I got that. But what she's not betting upon is that Mitch McConnell's coming back as head of the Senate with a Senate GOP leadership in place, a majority in place. Lord, this is what Wall Street's jittery about. Wall Street's jittery about that Joe Biden wins, that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats hold the House, but that the Senate actually stays Republican, a Republican majority. If that's the case, you could absolutely have Nancy Pelosi pulling out her hair. Because all her negotiations she has done for 4 or 5 months with Steve Mnuchin going from 1-1 to 1-3 to 1-6 to 1-8 to 1-8-5, guess what? Steve Mnuchin will be gone if a Joe Biden win occurs, and you'd have a new Senate majority leadership under Mitch McConnell for the GOP saying, you know what, sorry about that 1.8 offer, I didn't agree to it. So we're now at 0.200 or 0002. Don't come back to me unless you have $1. And at that point, Nancy Pelosi will regret having never accepted a $1.8 trillion offer, because now she has Mitch McConnell instead of Steve Mnuchin to deal with. The situation is very uncertain because ultimately, if the Senate goes Democrat, stays Republican, and does not go Democratic, then all of Nancy Pelosi's wishes evaporate. So how about your stimulus? Well, this ultimately would push Nancy Pelosi to get off of where she is. Yeah, I see your comments. And realize that she's not going to get $950 billion for staying local. She's not going to get $400 billion for staying local. In fact, she may not get a penny for staying local. That she needs to send out stimulus for Americans, FPUC, hazard pay, checks. And that's what Republicans would agree to. They're not going to agree to her big bailouts. And despite what happens with Joe Biden in the presidency, despite what Nancy Pelosi wants, if the Senate remains GOP, it's going to stay GOP. Going into the final weeks of the election, Biden is really raking in money from Wall Street like it's nobody's business. And why is Wall Street jittery about another thing? That is uncertainty about a contested election. A contested election is something Wall Street doesn't like. Why? Because it stems from stimulus, and Wall Street doesn't like uncertainty. Uncertainty is bad for stimulus as well. You want to know when you're getting your stimulus check. You want to know who's elected so that you can push purple power for your stimulus check. And if you don't know who's elected, or you're sitting around for weeks because someone's contested the elections, gone to the Supreme Court with the new nominee, Supreme Court Judge Barrett, we're just going to sit here and wonder what happened. And the same thing is happening in Georgia, that there's concern that the Senate race in Georgia could be a runoff. And the entire balance of the Senate and the entire scope of your stimulus is held up because of a runoff race in the Senate of Georgia. Wow. I mean, I have never seen anything so unpredictable as this. Ultimately, it's not bad news. It's not good news. It's just... it's just shocking news. But the great news for the Purple Power is that we remain focused. The Purple Power is the name that I gave for this community when I realized that people were referring to me as Mr. Purple because I wear purple shirts. Like this one is sort of purplish this morning. And so I decided to, hey, refer to the viewers of this channel as Purple Power. But the messaging of this channel has not changed since day one. Pushing, being informed, and staying positive and staying motivated. And ultimately, that's what Purple Power needs to do, despite what happens with the Senate out of Georgia, despite what happens with Pelosi or Biden or Trump. You have to be main focused, because that's why I started with telling you at the beginning of this video about how many stimulus checks, what period the stimulus checks, because you're owed a lot of money. And what people always ask me is, does it say in the Constitution I'm owed money? No. But what's going to happen is come December, guess who's going to come with their hands open like this? Can I have some money? Yeah, the airlines, the transportation, the hospitality, some group is the kung fu dancers, the koala bears. Someone's going to come and say, hey, can I have some money? And someone is going to come in and say, hey, can I have something? And whether it's the Disney characters, or it's Games of Thrones, or Games of Thrones, or Games of Congress, some characters are going to come out and say they want stimulus. And guess what? Congress is probably going to give it to them. And you're going to be like, wait a second, what happened to our stimulus? What happened to my stimulus? And that's what's important to understand, is that you're owed stimulus despite whatever something else happens around you. What's also important to understand is that Wall Street is really gunning for a win in the presidency by Biden. A new report overnight says that Harvey Schwartz, who is the former head of Goldman Sachs, gave $100,000 to Biden just 2 days ago. This comes on the news of John Doerr, chairman of Kleiner Perkins, which is the big venture capital firm, personally gave $355. Yeah, that's not $355, $355,000. Stephen Mandel, founder of Lone Pine Capital, gave $310,000. Pete Mueller, head of PDP Partners, gave $360,000. Jonathan Soros, son of George Soros, gave $145,000. And then peoples from Kohlberg, Kravitz, and Roberts, and J.P. Morgan and Blackstone have given $4 million in just one quarter, raising it up to almost $30 million. Why does Wall Street want so much money, want to throw so much money at Biden? Really unclear. Let me go to some incredible comments and questions from yesterday. Cindy Crowd, Trump just needs to do executive order and get the stimulus out. Yes, great question. Great comment. Stephanie Brown, 12 months in a year, no less. Sympathy for all the suffering. Missy Daniel, we're all in this together, so let's stand firm. Amen. Earl Truman, they just want Americans to starve. Alejandro, to each their own. Chris Wishon, this is very sad. Della Colson, the Lord said all these things are possible. God believes. Amen. Mercy, mercy, we need 5 months of stimulus. Deborah, good morning, LA. Good morning. The Lord is watching over. Yes. Michael, can't imagine where the laughing stock of the world. James White, yes, we need to stop thinking where the individual needs and think what everyone else needs. Amen. Very well said. If you have any questions or comments in today's video, drop in the comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe if you've not subscribed, so you can alert when a new video goes live and be part of this incredible community. A new video will go live the second half of Early Mornings LALATE shortly. So hit the alert, so hit the like button on this video so this video appears higher in the rankings, and you did a great job. Yesterday's Early Mornings video was #1, so boy, keep it up. Coming up next at the bottom of the hour at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is a continuation of Early Mornings LA. So stay tuned for that. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay FLA for more.